Welcome back to Affiliated, everybody. We are still here in sunny San Diego at Traffic and Conversion, and I'm very excited for this talk. We were chatting a bit last night. I've got Matt Titlow here from Compound Solutions and Kyle Adams from Compound Solutions. They're one of the top supplement formulators. Gosh, that's a mouthful. Yeah. In the space, and I've learned a ton from y'all already, so I'm excited to dive into some of the pretty nerdy stuff around supplement manufacturing, or formulation, I should say. Yeah. To be learning stuff. And because I think there's a lot of misassumptions with the clients I work with in the space when they're looking at it. They might think they would just want to go white label, but as y'all have taught me, that there's a lot more options out there that are surprisingly affordable in some cases and actually add a lot of benefit. So I'm really excited to dive in. But
let's do it.
Matt, I'd love to start with you a little bit and just give, because you've been in the space for how many years now?
18
years now?
It's been a minute.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Yep.
And obviously the supplements work because you look like you've only been in it for about 6. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's sunny San Diego and a little bit of the supplements. A little DK, ADK.
Nice. Can you just give me a quick overview of like how Compound Solutions came to be and kind of the core, I guess, problem you really solved in the space?
So it started 25 years ago. And it was mostly in mass market. So think just dietary supplements. Mm-hmm. It could be anything like an amino acid in an infant formula. Then we went to sports nutrition. And then we went into like, what is the source of human health? And that was gut health, right? So we started delving into that. And then we thought to ourselves, well, in the internet marketing space, you are trying to solve a problem, right? It's like, it could be heart health, it could be joint health, it could be, weight management, whatever it is. But the issue is that the actual formula and the conversion wasn't actually matching. Is like, look, I need to convert, I need a message, but the formula and the message weren't matching.
Oh,
like,
okay.
How do I actually get a heart health message or a weight management or a blood sugar message and have the actual formula represent the message? So we joined that force. We combined that. We created the formula that matches the message so everyone can convert.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because I see it a lot, right? Where it's like you look at the cost per bottle almost, and it's like, how are they getting a supplement manufactured that cheap? It's like, like what is actually in that pill that someone's taking, right? And is it actually backing up the claims that they're making around the product?
Right.
So Kyle, how long have you been with Compound now?
I've been with Compound for 4 years. Been in the industry for 10. Both Compound Solutions for 4.
Okay, nice. So in the supplement space too. Before
yeah.
that.
It was like sales before. You just like sort of pound the pavement, right? Like hit the GNCs of the world, do some like sort of sales. Spent time at like another smaller company doing like director of sales sort of stuff, and that's really where I started. Like the formulation, understanding manufacturing was like on the smaller startup size with brands, and then found my way into Compound Solutions.
Oh, nice. So because you seem to be on the road a lot, kind of meeting your clients, and kind of partners and things like that. What do you find when you're chatting with them what are the big things that they're trying to overcome where they're currently at that you're kind of helping solve for?
Yeah, on the road quite a bit is definitely factual. Like sometimes I forget that like I have a wife and kids at home. No, I'm kidding. No, all is good. My wife's super supportive. She's awesome. Some of the things they're trying to overcome in this space, specifically like internet marketing, is like claim substantiation. You have to do so much time and research as a copywriter or offer creator or whoever, just like finding studies. So I've found that's been like an add value sort of is like, as Matt mentioned, we're in the ingredient space. We have, patent ingredients. So it's been like being able to supply claims has kind of been like just the first hurdle to overcome for some of these guys.
Okay, yeah. Because, we obviously do that a lot with the copy compliance at ClickBank. Copywriter makes claim around some trial on mice, supplement this ingredient does something crazy, right? And they don't understand why they can't make that claim because they did their Googling and they found their link in Wikipedia to something, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, can we go a little bit maybe, I don't know if this is out over our skis a bit, but onto why that doesn't back up and what I think is the term trademark ingredients and how that can kind of help somebody actually make substantiation claims around an ingredient?
Yeah. I'll let Matt dive into it, but to oversimplify it is you just can't make claims on animal studies. It has to actually be a human study. And what goes into that is a lot more than an animal study, meaning a lot more money, a lot more time, a lot more research. So you might be able to cover more after 18 years.
It's a little disappointing to understand that, or to know that mice aren't humans. We're always disappointed in that because they're a little bit more costly. It's a little disappointing all around. But the human study can be anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000 typically. I mean, this isn't for an efficacy study.
Okay.
I'm, just kind of simplifying here, but do you jump higher, run faster, whatever. But let's just say it's like blood sugar, for example. You might be able to go lower. You might be able to go somewhere in that $75,000 range, but you're typically in the $100,000 to $250,000 range at minimum.
Just
right?
to run the study.
Yeah, and that's you're looking at 20 subjects or something like that. I didn't say like double-blind crossover placebo-controlled study with 500 people. Like, this is not pharma, right? I'm talking 20 or 30, maybe depending on what sort of endpoints you're looking at. Maybe it could be up to 60, and still 60 subjects, humans. And do that study. And what you're working on is an endpoint in those humans. So like, let's just say blood sugar, insulin. It could be weight management over a 3-month period. Name it. But if you're going to go with, let's say, an animal study, it really has to be tied to a mechanism. Like, you can't just say 10% lower blood sugar or something like that. You can't name the actual physical result in numbers, right? You'd have to say something like, use the word promotes or supports.
Right.
Like promotes heart health, promotes joint health, promotes...
Has to be a healthy function of the body already.
Yes, a structure function claim that is really mechanistic, right? Again, supports, what else? Supports, blood sugar in already healthy ranges.
Right, yeah.
There you go.
Very
there you go.
Sexy copy.
Oh, man.
That's right.
That's what we do. We
right.
do sexy
sell
copy all
right
the time.
to self here.
products.
Yeah, and a little disclaimer: we're not lawyers, so you have to go to your lawyer. But this is just from 18 years of experience in dealing with our outside counsel. This is just easy for your audience.
So with the ingredients you have trademark, does that help your clients tap into some of those efficacy studies that you maybe have done? Is that Oh, wow. Okay.
So maybe you want to go ahead with T-creatine and dynamine, for example.
Yeah. T-creatine and dynamine, for example, to Matt's point, there are 2 ingredients that are like energy, mood, focus, no crash, no habituation, no jitters. They're actually not stimulants. We found all that out through $2 million in clinical studies, 23 vetted claims now through our legal team that they could vet through their legal team as well. So that's just an example of 2 ingredients, and we actually have like access we give actually the offer creator or the brand or whoever access to all of those studies.
Wow. So if I'm the copywriter or the marketing team working with y'all, I can actually take that as a guide, as a framework maybe to kind of back into claims.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we can give them all, which is like data dumping, right? Just give them all of it. Or what we've been doing for some of these people that we're working with is very specific. So if they're talking about dopamine, well, they probably only want studies associated to like elevating dopamine. So we actually like kind of get granular and specific, and then just let people know like, look, we've got more if you want to go other angles, but we can save you a ton of like Google time, really.
Right.
At the end of the day, like how much does that?
And picking the wrong study, right? It could be the mice study that you talked about, Thomas, for example. Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. So I'd see that as a big value add. And then this is going to go to another tangent here, but I've always told people, because I'm ignorant of the supplement space often, it's like, hey, if you don't know much about supplements, but you want to sell one, like maybe start white label because it's easier. You can go off the shelf, you can get started, and then go custom. Is that a fair assumption, or would you say where's that point where someone should really consider a custom formulation versus like a white label off the shelf that someone can put a label on?
For me, I would say it depends on like what the end goal is and who their target market is, for example. So if they just want like, let's say that their goal is to provide more vitamin D. I'm making it up. Well, just do a white label vitamin D because you can test 50 bottles if you want. You can test 150 bottles, right? You don't need a custom formulation. Now, if they want to start getting into like, call it like mitochondrial health, right? Like something that supports autophagy. Well, now you kind of want something that's custom formulated so you can actually get to the end goal on something that works, right? Like it's almost like vitamin D is vitamin D kind of thing. Yeah. But when you actually want like a full on like end goal, you have a target market, you have a product, you have a actual like goal in mind for the consumer. Well, now you kind of want to look at a custom formula, something that can support what you're trying to do, support autophagy, whatever it might be. That's when you'd want to look more into like a custom formula. Go ahead.
And what do you think about units?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think a lot of people get concerned because they're like, oh my gosh, but now I got to do 20,000 units or 10,000 unit run. There are several quality contract manufacturers like CGMP, Certified Good Manufacturing Practices, that will honestly allow you to test like 2,000 units, even 1,000, with the understanding that like this guy has power, right? This guy or this girl is like just been crushing other offers and whatever it is, maybe 4X, whatever. And so they understand the potential. So you
They're
go
gonna
from
run a
1,000.
smaller batch run for
Exactly.
you. Okay.
1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000, knowing there's potential.
Right. You can't go to a co-man, though, a contract manufacturer, and say, hey, look, I want to run 2,000 units. Unequivocally, they're not going to do it.
No.
Yeah, because they've got
You have
business that's
they have other business
You
that's
need a
50,000
referral.
units and like,
Right.
no, thank you. Right.
Yeah.
But if you come in and you say, hey, look, I have other offers that are doing 50, 100,000 plus units a month. You're like, look, I just want to test this out because I think it's going to scale. Oh, yeah. Did 100% do
win
you
that
a
business,
favor,
yeah.
favor and do 2,000, 3,000 units. So if you can do something like 10,000 units per month or more, that's easily a custom formula. You know, if you wanted to make a custom formula, you could easily do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the other benefits of going custom formula? Because I imagine like we're kind of talking maybe more strategic copy claims you can make, right? Like versus just sticking white label and trying to scale that. Like, is there?
Yeah, I would say there's a few things,
Yeah.
and you can add to this as well, Matt. One is like what you just said, right? Like better claims, actual claims, substantiated claims.
Yeah.
That's a start, right? So the FTC is maybe not beating on the door. Better copy, better options for copy. Also protecting yourself a little bit, right? If you go through a custom formula, it's a little bit harder for the next, offer creator to go, oh wow, that's crushing it. Let me buy 10,000 bottles of the same thing. It's a little more difficult, right? It's a unique formula to
Yeah, that makes
yourself.
sense. You've got some defense around your
Absolutely.
product, right? You can't get ripped off as easily.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, everyone's going to be able to rip off everything, right? Like, it's not a secret, but it's going to take longer, right?
Yeah.
By the time they actually get to where they need to be, which is like maybe getting a hold of us for a trademarked ingredient or whatever it might be, getting a hold of a flavor house for a specific flavor. By the time they actually get there, you're going to be so far ahead that you're going to be looking at your next offer anyway.
Gotcha.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I'd say matching the copy. I already said it.
Yeah.
But gosh, I can't tell you how many formulas I've seen that's white label and the copy, and it's just not
So you have
matching.
customers trying to take it. It's not doing what it says it would. Like, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Chargebacks like crazy.
Yeah, so you get chargebacks and refunds and merchant processing issues because you didn't lose 10 pounds in 10 days, or you know what I mean? It's like
What?
I mean, yeah,
You
I know.
didn't?
I know. I did actually.
You should have seen that last week.
Unbelievable that cleanse. Woo. But anyway, just allowing the formula to support your copy
Gotcha.
is big.
That's huge. What are some of the big mistakes you see people make? Or actually, before we go into that, I'm really curious on, can you just explain maybe the environment of a formulator and a manufacturer? Because I think people, I get that confused. So maybe I'm just dense, but maybe other people do too.
So formulator, like ourselves at Compound Solutions, Matt, myself, actually are formulating the product, right? So you have a target market. You have you want to do blood sugar for 45 plus. We now ask, like, what are the sort of claims you're looking to make? What is, what sort of story you're trying to tell? This sort of thing. We then can formulate that into your cost, right? We'll certainly ask, like, where do you need to be for this thing to be scalable, right? Like, anybody can formulate something that costs $12, but nobody's scaling something that costs $12, right? So we can formulate within
$12
like
per bottle, right?
$12 per bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got, whatever, you got to pay affiliates, or if you're just direct to consumer, you can still media buy. All this costs money. We know that. So we can formulate within those costs. Contract manufacturer is actually running the product. So you would take that formula to a contract manufacturer. They would actually then blend the actual ingredients, put it in a capsule, put it in a gummy, in a powder, whatever that might be. So that would be the difference, is that we're doing the formula, for the client. The manufacturer is running the product and getting it, bottled and labeled.
Okay, gotcha. And then are you helping work with the manufacturer, or is that something the client's doing totally ad hoc, or like how does that relationship work?
Yeah. Because we've been doing this for, as a company, Compound Solutions, like 25 years. Matt's been at 18. I've been here for like 10. We just built relationships over years. So we have truly just like connections in manufacturing. So we are happy to make those connections, just like ClickBank does, right? You guys, it's, networking is the point, right? Like help everyone out, right? So we absolutely can make those connections to the manufacturers, get them, quoted, help them get, going, because we understand that offer creators don't always wanted to do that or have time to do that.
I'm a
right?
marketer. I don't know.
Exactly. Why do I need to sit on the
they're
phone,
like,
getting it quoted out in 3 different places?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we can, we do that and work with the fulfillment house to make sure that it's all done, properly. So 100% can make those connections and help out on the manufacturing side.
If you mind, just one other point that the offer creator might be interested in is if you have something that's going to be a powder into water or something that's flavored, Flavors take 6 weeks to make at minimum, almost like at a rush.
Okay.
Okay. That is the flavor house crushing it after 6 weeks.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they're not going to produce, all flavors are produced like on demand, essentially. Right? So,
that's
or not on demand, sorry. Per purchase order. Right?
Oh, I
so,
see.
So you
Okay.
put in your purchase order, then they make it.
So you're a month and a half.
So you're a month and a half behind. So
At the fastest. Yeah.
that's at the fastest
Yeah.
before they even give you like a lead time at the co-man. So think of how intense that is if you scale
Yeah.
and you're like waiting for an apple flavor. So that's why capsules are so popular.
Oh, I see.
Because you can take that raw material, throw it in a capsule, and you're done. But you get all the raw materials, you're sitting there, you have a capsule, you're good, you put it in a powder, and you're like, ooh, where's the flavor? Oh, I forgot to order it. Or, oh, it's 6 weeks away, or it's 8 weeks, or it's COVID because one little aroma chemical isn't there. So just a little, I don't know, nugget, I guess, is just powders take longer. Flavored things take longer than capsules.
I did not know that. That makes a ton of sense. Well, I'd love to dive that into a little bit more because I think supply chain, lead time, like that's something that does pop up with our supplement sellers, right? Especially as they start scaling.
Yep.
They're testing, they're doing a couple dozen sales a day, things are going. All of a sudden, big affiliate pushes. Now we're 500 sales a day, 1,000 sales a day, and things are just scaling, and then they're out over their skis without inventory.
Right.
What are things you see people do to get in front of that if they don't have X $1,000 to invest in 100,000 units or something? What is that expectation people should have when lead times come up?
Yeah. One is like if you start to scale, most of these people should, from what I'm understanding, and you know this far better than I do, but they can kind of tell if it's going to just absolutely explode. So you can get ahead of it a little bit on ordering. From the formulation side is maybe where I can speak to easier, is when we're doing the formulas, we're making sure that we formulate with ingredients that can scale, right? You don't want I'm making it up, but you don't want like a rare cinnamon that's kind of hard to get.
Yeah.
Because you go from a 5,000 unit order to a 50,000 and you're like, I can't get my rare cinnamon.
Right.
Like, yeah, sorry about that, but it's a cool formula, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Probably not the best.
Right.
So we want to formulate to things that, can be easily sourced for one. Now the trademark side, that's on us, right? We have to do the sourcing, we have to do the ordering. We do carry heavy inventory of most of our stuff, just so that we're not putting our customers in a difficult situation. So part of it's just open communication of does this thing take off? Because if so, we'll order now, right? We'll bet with you, sort of thing. So from the trademark side, we control that, but from the other ingredients that maybe we don't provide, but we formulate in there, it's really just about what's easy to get that works as well.
Right, exactly. I'd just add to that. Sometimes you can test. Let's say you're a big offer creator, right? And you can do 100,000 units. Maybe just order 10. Find out, you split test, you see what's going to work, you run out of stock. Then you kind of, let's call it relaunch in 2 months. And that's when you get to the co-man. You go, okay, if this thing scales to 500,000 units, how many bottles do you actually, physical lids. Is my label manufactured?
I heard, through COVID and the supply chains, even just the plastic wrap that goes around the top was out of stock.
Exactly.
Right. It's
Who knew
people are
someone
I
would
can't
pay
sell it.
top dollar for
crazy.
plastic wrap?
Right.
I honestly, we don't sell plastics, but I would field calls from contacts do you have 70,000 smooth lids? I'm like, why would I? And no, I don't. But that's how bad it was.
It was really bad.
It was rough.
Have
Now
things
it's better.
gotten better?
It's better.
Yeah.
It's better. Yeah, much
It
better.
is. But yeah, you get with the co-man and you say, okay, here's the formula. And some will be our ingredients, some of it's not our ingredients. And obviously we don't have bottles, lids, things of that sort. And then you say, hey, if this thing goes from, let's say, this 100,000 starting order to 500,000, what's your floor stock like on a bottle like this? And if you don't have 500,000 just hanging around, who's your supply? What does your supplier have? And if your supplier does or doesn't have it, how fast? So you just back it out. And then you go back to the offer creator and say, hey, if you're going to do something like above 200,000 units a month, I'm just making up numbers.
Yeah.
You got to tell us 2 months in advance.
That makes sense.
There's a breaking point. Hey, they got 200,000 bottles now, but if you go to 300,000, you are, you got to tell us 3 months. Right? We give you kind of a break point, basically. If you go above, stop the media, basically.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Now, I see that quite a bit with people who used to maybe sell digital courses or digital products, and they move into the supplements or physical, and it's a learning process for them that, hey, the things take time.
Yeah,
You can't
exactly.
just turn around
Yeah.
like this, where you're getting ingredients from all over the world. Maybe they have to get manufactured. They get all picked and packed and everything. It's quite large. What size? I've heard people might need multiple manufacturers at a certain scale. Do you find that's a certain, maybe it's dependent on ingredient, but is there a certain size that you see that coming into play?
Yeah, I think it depends on the application. Like capsules aren't so bad. So, if you're doing,
Gotcha.
I'm making about 500,000 capsules a month or 500,000 bottles. You could get by probably with one co-man on that. It'd be a lot of line time for the co-man. But powders.
So co-man is
Contract manufacturer.
contract
Yep.
manufacturer.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, so manufacturer. If you do like powders, those take time, right? You got to blend, you got to fill. So honestly, if you're at like 250,000 units a month, you should really be thinking about a second manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gummies, definitely, because line time's crazy right now for gummies.
Oh, interesting.
Walmart's replacing something like 60% of their business with vitamin business with gummies. So like these gummy co-mans are super backed up. You should have a couple of them for sure. Tinctures maybe the same. Capsules you can get away with a little bit more from one place, really.
I agree. I think it's really about just kind of overall risk.
Sure.
And the more in a single basket, the more it can,
That
make
makes
it-
sense.
So you have to have that relationship. So, yeah, I'd agree. I think you can go lower and still have two. Like,
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't hurt to have two.
It doesn't hurt to have two. The issue is, what's that relationship like? So, like, for example, if you have a contract manufacturer who's willing to kind of like have floor stock, that's big time. Because let's say you're an
Sorry,
offer
floor
creator,
stock means.
means to actually have like your bottles sitting there without you buying them.
Oh, okay.
That's really cool. Because let's say you're an offer creator who has a history,
Right.
and they're like, hey, look, I trust you. So I'm going to have 100,000 extra bottles on the floor that you don't even have to buy. I'm going to take that risk. I'm going to have enough raw materials for 100,000 units sitting on my floor just because that you're not even paying for. That's an incredible relationship. And if you have something like that, like Kyle said, go to 500,000 units, just invest, just, all in. That said, like Kyle said, if it's a flavor, man, things can get a little unwieldy if you keep scaling and just line tight. Just think of physical blenders. Just a physical blender, and you've got, let's say, I don't know, 20,000 pounds of stuff, right? Just processing 20,000 pounds of stuff,
Right.
All the time. It can be a lot.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if they have that much like girth, then you want to have two.
Okay, that makes sense. We always talk about, or I try to talk about my clients, right? The single points of failure in a business, and it gets a little overwhelming when there's like 30. It's like you have processing, you have web hosting, right? Those are the obvious ones people think about as a marketer.
This keeps
right?
piling up.
Yeah, and it's like, but lead time. Like we saw that happen through COVID, right? We saw people selling products they didn't have yet. They were still like on boats from China, or they're stuck, and it's like, and they're trying to help with customer service, and that becomes a breaking point.
Yeah.
Like it's playing a bit of defense goes an incredibly long way in keeping
time.
businesses running.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely big time. Yeah, keep your offer alive.
What are some other maybe mistakes you see people make when they're like, I want to make a supplement, like that starting that journey?
Yeah. The first one is not knowing your target market.
Okay. Yeah.
Who are you selling to? Like, why do you exist? Why do you have a product? Who are you actually selling to? That's probably the biggest. Like, so you want to make a product, and you're just randomly picking what? Blood sugar? Why? Like,
I've seen it too. Like I'm making a product for me.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
cool.
N of one.
You have one customer, and
Yeah.
maybe your mom will buy.
Yeah.
Great. So that's
It costs
probably
$20 a bottle. It's the best ingredients.
That's
and
right.
That's what I
It's
need.
so
yeah.
good. The formula's
Yeah.
$20. I'm gonna sell it for 40. You're gonna lose money.
Yeah.
What else would you add? But really, that's truly the biggest. Is like, who's your target market?
Biggest mistakes, just generally that we've seen. I would say maybe nowadays because the cost of customer acquisition is just is
getting very
ludicrous.
high,
It's
right? Yeah.
extremely high. So just making sure that you have your cost in line prior. So like, don't walk into a formulation going, yeah, just tell me what you got, right? Like, no man, tell me you want it for $4.
So,
$5 a bottle.
So if I'm a
right?
customer coming on, like I should have an idea of like, hey, I need this cog
Yeah.
to be your cost of good to be $5, $4, $6, whatever it might be per bottle.
Yes, not even an idea. Kind of like
You
habit.
should know.
Do you wrap in?
Yeah.
Would you find your customers are adding in like fulfillment costs to that number?
Yes,
Like,
you
is
want to
that-
add
yeah.
fulfillment
Should.
costs because you don't
Add
want to
that
get
in.
shocked, right? So you're saying like, oh, I need it to
Yeah.
be $4, then you add in fulfillment costs, you add in shipping, all that stuff, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, I wasn't ready for this.
Right now,
So,
I'm at
you should
$9 a
know.
bottle, and things are
Yeah,
going sideways.
get with the ship offers of the world and know like what you need to be there. Add that into your cost,
Totally.
and then we can formulate in it like if you need to be at $4, like, and that includes shipping, whatever. Like you want to know those things.
Okay, so really,
That's a really good point.
so you're starting with. I'd have to imagine you have to start with what is my single bottle price point going to be, right? What's my 6 bottle price point going to be? Kind of back into.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That-
Do I
that-
want to
that's
make
exactly-
5x, 6x, 10x?
That's exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, what is my customer acquisition going to be,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like, okay, to be profitable, I need, I don't know, 3 bottles. I'm making that up.
Sure.
And then it's like, okay, well, what's that per bottle cost now need to be? And then it's like, Kyle and Matt, can you make something with ship offers, fees, and everything else? Everything total. Tell me what that.
Yeah.
Tell me, I have to meet $4, $5, $6.
I remember I was just having lunch with the Leaf guys, right? And they're
Yeah.
telling me a story of a brand I won't mention, but they made a very costly mistake in their customer acquisition where they were scaling and they were factoring their price of a single bottle into their 6 bottle bundle price.
Oh my God.
And they were, so it's like, oh, a 6 bottle costs X to fulfill. And that was for 1 bottle.
Oh my God.
They're like, wow, this is so
Wow.
profitable. And they started scaling that. And then someone caught it after, I don't know how much time and money, but like, oh, no, we have to multiply this by 6.
Oh
And they
my
went,
God.
Oh my God.
Right?
Devastating.
It's like,
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm
No bueno.
feeling it for them right now.
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, yikes.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, right. That's just probably just a mental error someone made in a spreadsheet or something. And yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
man, those gets the checks and balances there. Is there any other like I mean, lead times is a big one. Not understanding lead time or like kind of trying to get out in front of yourself too fast.
Yeah.
So like that's where I always tell clients like ask, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't go in with assumptions.
Yeah.
'cause
Right.
They're probably wrong.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
ask people like yourselves who are the experts in this. Like, hey, what should I expect here? What do I need to get ready for? So these things we're talking about.
Yeah, I think just having them let us know like where is the low and the high. So like for example, let's say I'm going to test. Cool.
Okay.
I'm going to test 10,000 units. I'm going to blow it out. I'll let you know in 2 months if we think this offer is going to go. Okay, you come back in 2 months. This offer is going to go. I think it's going to be between 50,000 and 300,000 units. Like, wow, that's a month.
Okay.
Like, that's a big
A lot of
Range.
difference.
That's a big range. Like, give me a like an on-off ramp, right? Like, like for example, is this going to like scale and then go exponentially? You go to the contract manufacturer, see how many bottles they have, and you start working on those sorts of issues. So I think just having a price and you have in mind, a target market you have in mind, get the story and the formula going, and then just from there, supply chain. It's just full on ranges. Like, is it 100,000 bottles or 10,000 bottles? That's super significant.
That makes sense. And I have to admit, I mean, that is tough. I'm just thinking of my clients, right? Like a lot of them don't know.
Yeah,
They're going to be
exactly.
like, well, it's like, I mean, historical, whatever the stock market quote is, right? Like historical returns can only
Yeah.
as they are.
Yeah.
So like if you're looking at like, well, I usually do this, but this is a new venture, a new test, like maybe it flops. I'm trying to think of some of the bigger offer creators in the space. They might roll out 12 offers in a year and 3 of them scale, right? And they're doing things like that. But in the same vein, and they might be rolling out 12 offers. 4 of them are a dental product, 4 of them are a weight loss, 4 of them are this.
Yeah.
And they might just be rebranding some
Yeah.
of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
Things around that to get the hook right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. What does a really, like someone who's got their stuff dialed in, I think you've kind of alluded to it through this, but if you could encapsulate that, like how are they operating for the people that are selling those 100,000 unit minimum a month kind of deals? Like how are they operating on the operations side with y'all?
Someone that handles supply chain, right? So if they have a supply chain director, or they have a project manager, or they have really it's whoever is handling it. So it could be the CEO. If he handles the supply chain, all good. But it has to be somebody that's sort of in it, right? Like they have to know, like they have to have experience with it. They have to know what they've done in the past. They have to know lead times, like that sort of stuff. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, it would be like whoever. It could be the CEO, but it could just be like a supply chain director. It could be a project manager, something like that. Over communicating with like your fulfillment house, your contract manufacturer, your formulator, whoever it is. Over communicating meaning just like, hey, look, we bought 10,000 units. We've tested it. We think this thing is going to scale. We need you to order X amount of X ingredient, right? So we can then get, with our supply chain director, get the ingredient, launch that sort of thing. Others, just being successful just in general, and just knowing how to test, right? Like, a lot of your top offer creators like are so good at already like testing, like they'll just, make a dental product or whatever, they'll test it themselves and understand like, kind of have an idea what's going to scale, might be off 5 or 10,000, but it's like, whether it's going to scale or not, right? So actually like having a sort of system in place that allows you to test is just key, because then you can know whether or not you're worth spending, whether they're worth spending the time on their own offer,
Robbie Amaro was in here yesterday talking about split testing, right? And he brought up the point that most offer owners probably kill an offer before they should.
Yeah.
Right? That's like they're close and think the offer's a failure, but really just haven't split tested it thoroughly yet.
Oh, wow.
Right. Wow. And so because I've heard like, oh yeah, I was trying with some fulfillment houses, like, oh my gosh, we got 100,000 units of this stuff in our warehouse still. It's like, and the offer owner just abandoned it.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, oh, this offer isn't working anymore. And they're going, how do we get rid of this stock? And like really, they probably just didn't test it to the nth degree to finally find that break-even point, or they ran out of cash flow, or they ran out of something to where that kind of collapsing them.
Yeah. How long, so you have something like this and they split test it. Doesn't it, how many times will they rewrite copy to try something before they're just like, no,
Right.
Yeah. I spoke at Deal Making Live before this on Sunday or whatever, and Lion Publishing, one of our bigger sellers, gave me some VSL swipes to show.
Right.
And they gave me 2 to 4 VSL intros for the video sales letter for 2 offers.
Wow.
But the example that I was trying to highlight was that this is just a small snippet of what they actually test. Right? They have a VSL offer that's launching. It's going to scale, they're pretty sure. And they have 4 to 5 unique hooks that they're testing for one VSL, let alone all the other headlines they're going to test, and the different when the buy button pops, and like the different top level creatives like subject line or ad creative, right? But they have a process for it. Their affiliate management team is working with their copy team to show them what's working with their affiliates. The copy team, the design team are working together, roll out these split tests and segment what's actually working and what's not. And so they have a very thorough back end process to actually roll this out.
Yeah.
I think the mistake people make is thinking that, I just need a VSL or a long form sales letter. And they don't realize that these top level creators are rolling out and testing quickly.
Yeah.
And they might have, you might only see the 20% of the winners.
Right.
You don't see all the losers that happen. Yeah.
That's
That's a successful company.
You
answered your own question.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah. But yeah, I find exactly what you said, that process, the system, and also just an executor. Because oftentimes we'll see like a visionary, like, oh my gosh, the trendsetter or whatever, and then you just need an implementer.
Yeah.
And if you're small and starting, to be the visionary and the implementer oftentimes doesn't work. And so you have someone who's like really specialized in YouTube, or really specialized in, I don't know, some sort of whatever media. And then you just need someone to just get it done, like with the co-man, the formulator, or whatever, that communication. So I don't know how to say it other than, I don't know, project management, COO, that process.
That's why I see so many like partnerships find, right? Because you have a copywriter, you have an ad creator, right? Someone who's more on the creative side.
Yep.
They need to partner with someone, or at least hire someone.
Yeah.
Usually partnership is better because they don't know how to manage people. So partnership's usually a little better than an employee, or someone who is that operator person who gets the back end and can actually get things done and execute.
Exactly.
Right? The executor role.
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. Even just like chargebacks, refunds, this sort of stuff. Like, gosh, even just to help with that back end, the visionary is like, oh my gosh, do I really have to deal with that detail right now?
Yeah.
No one wants that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I am not an executor. We'll call it that way.
We've heard.
We did hear. Yeah. We heard that this morning.
Oh, I know who told you that. One last question for y'all before we wrap up. I wanted to ask, what kind of trends are you seeing from your clients you're working with? Is there any different types of supplements coming up you're seeing? Anything like that?
Great question. You want to tackle that one first?
No, you.
Okay. Oh, good. I think weight management has come back around, right? It's sort of cyclical just in the industry, whether you're talking like your world, affiliate marketing, internet marketing, that sort of thing, or even like sports nutrition, Costco, Walmart, that sort of stuff. Weight management has come back around. Gut health is probably the biggest trend.
Gut health, gotcha.
Gut health, all encompassing. So don't think like just probiotics. Think like gut health. So like feeling less bloated, better regulation of digestive system, like these sorts of things. Gut health is probably the biggest trend.
Okay.
I think dopamine, so if you don't listen to the Andrew Huberman podcast, It's a cool one. You check out
Okay.
Human Lab. But he talks. His most watched and listened to podcast is on dopamine. Dopamine's basically just feel good, right? Like motivation, mood. So think like nootropics, biohacking. But instead of calling it biohacking, like a Tim Ferriss or Anna used to call
or
it
something,
or Ben Greenfield, and now it's shifted to like pro mood and dopamine. So I would say like gut health, weight management, pro mood sort of stuff, dopamine, and then maybe just energy, just in general as a whole. Maybe like lumps into like nootropic
seen a
and
couple
dopamine.
of that.
Yeah,
Seen sleep, stress.
yeah.
Those are giant.
Yeah.
You know, from the pandemic. See, we use T-Creen as a dopamine agonist, Corbiome for gut.
Yeah.
But gut has been so just jammed into probiotics. They call it the probiotic industry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's almost synonymous.
It's like,
that's important.
It's actually the gut health industry, right?
Yeah.
And so, I would say sleep is probably coming on. Blood sugar has crushed it for a while.
Blood sugar. Yeah.
And when we talk about weight management, we take it from the standpoint of blood sugar versus a stim. Like
exactly.
you can like what we always say is like you can a stim means caffeine.
Caffeine, okay,
so
gotcha.
you can either like burn a calorie or not eat the muffin, right? So that's what we always say.
I'd like
so
both, please.
so exactly. So how do I burn it and not eat the muffin? Well,
Yeah.
blood sugar, maintaining blood sugar is one way to kind of
Gotcha.
help not eat the muffin. Satiety at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Versus a stim where you get a little cracked out and it's a little too much and people feel, the jitters, and that was the old school way of doing it, 10 years ago.
You know what's up and coming right now? It's sort of like intermittent fasting, like mitochondrial health. It's like
Yes.
think like autophagy, this sort of stuff. Intermittent fasting is like the next, let's call it like diet trend. It's easier to sustain than keto because you're not like putting butter and bacon on your eggs.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I'm kind of tired of my cholesterol being high.
Right.
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting, sort of like a diet trend, but just like from intermittent fasting, the benefits. It's like autophagy, mitochondrial health, like healthy aging, basically, or beauty from within. That'll be like, I think, probably one of the next big trends that's coming now.
Yeah,
interesting.
intermittent fasting from like a weight management, but also the effect.
The
of
effect.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, mental clarity.
Yeah.
From,
Yes.
Help.
from
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
supporting that fasting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
like-
Yeah, because it's been around with the weight loss piece, right? But the cognitive benefits and like the feel good and
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's a ton of benefits to that.
Yeah.
To just fasting and how to support that, so you can almost like feel like you are without having
Yeah.
to sacrifice too much.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. So it seems
They
like
keep
the
you
mental health
satiated.
component of things has really come out
Big
since
time.
COVID and everything.
Big time.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming onto this. I trust that the listeners here have heard how well you know this space. I've learned a ton just in the brief time I've been known y'all. So I really appreciate you coming on. If people are keen and want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to kind of find y'all on Compound Solutions?
Yeah. Honestly, you can just reach out directly. Like I can just awkwardly give you my email right now. It's like kadams@compoundsolutions.com. So that's KADAMS@compoundsolutions.com. My cell phone number, 760-730-2802.
You're a brave man.
If you call right now, I'll throw in a free. No, I'm kidding. That is my real cell
but wait,
phone.
there's more. Yeah.
Well, but wait, there's more. Yeah, in the next 5 minutes, I'll throw in Matt's cell phone number.
No, we won't.
So that would be the easiest. You can also honestly go to our website. It's I would argue one of the best and most dense websites in our space. Compoundsolutions.com. There's like a sales email thing you can fill out there, but we honestly have like links to our studies that are published.
Oh, cool.
We have almost all of our ingredients on there. Like it's really a fantastic website. Even formulation guides. We have blogs. So that's probably the first place you should start is our website.
Yeah, agreed.
There we
Nothing
go.
to add.
No, I
Thanks,
love
Thomas.
it.
Yeah.
No, we'll include links in the show notes and all that kind of good stuff. So
That's cool.
Maybe your cell phone number too. If
Hey, look, call. Yeah, just hit me up.
that's good. And ideally, and I think we're waiting for the ink to dry and all that kind of stuff. We'll have links to our partnership page with y'all and kind of things
We're
like
excited.
that. They've been taking really good care of the clients who've kind of sent your way so far. So we really appreciate that. And I'm excited to see what they do with the new custom formulas you guys are making.
We appreciate it. Yeah, it's been fun working with you guys. It's I always tell us, but like I was talking to Kyle Meredith this morning, and I was like, dude, a couple years ago, I realized that like I kind of just wanted to spend more time with good people and do business that way. And that's been ClickBank. Like every single person I met at ClickBank is so genuine, whether it's you or Allison or one of the Kyles. I met Chris last night at like the
Ellery,
ship
yep.
off. Just the nicest people. Like so we want to do more with you guys, and so we promise to always take care of those referrals and give them the same service that you guys give us and your clients.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. Likewise. No, it's been, it's just good business, good people. And if we have one Kyle, you have two. I mean, this is a match.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we're all in the conference room together. This is yeah.
It was confusing.
Yeah. I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much. We'll get back to traffic and conversion, and you're come to our party tonight.
Yeah, we'll
Absolutely.
be there.
Fun.
We're in.
Sweet. Yeah, and trust I'll see y'all at the next party we throw here at TNC because it's always a banger. It's always a fun one.
Right.
And happy scaling, everybody. Cheers.